out. I'm the one who's late. Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo here with my co-host Raphael Esparza, bringing you What Are the Odds? Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us, and thank you to Johnny Nixon, aka Johnny Marble, for being a new member and joining the show. If you are new here, we are two sports handicappers at Doc Sports Services, the best sports handicapping service on the planet, frankly. This is Doc's 55th year of football, and we are offering not only our discounted full season football package at $749 right now. That gets you every pick from any handicapper that you choose from now through the Super Bowl. We also have our 3-for-1 special that is going right now, where if you buy, say, Raphael's full season package, you can get mine and someone else's. We give you 3 services to test out for 3 weeks, so you can figure out whose style is best for you. Also, take advantage of that free 60 link down in the description. That will take you to Doc Sports and give you $60 free, same as cash, to be used any handicapper, any sport, any package that you want. Raphael also has a big WNBA play that is on the big play board tonight. We have 2 guys with 8-unit MLB Game of the Years going tonight, which is odd that you have 2 guys that have 8 units on the same day, but they really like the plays, so you should really like the plays as well. Finally, like and subscribe. We have a saying around here: if you do not mash the like button, you are going to lose your bets today. That's science. That's a fact. It's indisputable. Raphael, first, I want you to just admit that I was right and that you were wrong and that you don't know anything and I know everything. Last night on Doc's Thursday football release show, we were talking about the Micah Parsons trade and what impact it might have on the spreads for those week 1 games. The books already moved the Philadelphia line to 7.5. I said that it would probably get up to 8 by kickoff, and you didn't think that there would be any short-term line movement on either the Green Bay Detroit game or the Philadelphia Dallas game. So just tell me. Just tell me. Tell me that
it could go backwards. I mean, we have a week. I think the TV keeps on screaming at us about the trade. I mean, if you watch anything on TV in sports, they forgot that college football played yesterday. They forgot Kyle Schwarber hit 4 home runs yesterday. It's all about Micah Parsons. So I think some of that money was TV money, as I like to say. But I can guarantee you, buyback is going to come in from now on. So yeah, you're right today, but maybe tomorrow.
No. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm talking to my wife right now, rather than just admitting that I was right. Instead, it's some like underhanded thing where I wasn't right or whatever. But that's all right. That's all right. No one wants to give me my credit. Okay, so you brought up college football, so let's stay there. What did you think last night? Did you see anything? Were you surprised by anything? What jumped out at you on that opening Thursday?
How poorly Boise State looked. I said on the show that I tried to middle it because I took the +9 when it first came out, and then I tried when it went to 4.5 right before kickoff. Okay, I took a little Boise State 4.5, thinking I can get, wow, that's a nice almost 5-point middle in the game. But I got off that really quickly in the third quarter. So it was ugly game. I'm not really that shocked. I mean, they always struggle in the beginning of the season. They got blown out by Oregon. They lost to Washington and another team 2 years ago. Bad travel. We have to go all the way to South Florida and humid air and try to play a football game. So I thought the number was too high when it opened up. But I didn't think they were going to look that poorly throughout the whole game. So a little bit shocked in that. NC State leaving so many points off the board. I mean, missed field goals, penalties. I mean, it was just awful. I mean, and I don't know if I said this last time. There were revenge game from a military bowl that they lost. East Carolina scoring an 85-yard touchdown return to win that game in a military bowl. So I was a little bit shocked at how poorly NC State looked as well.
Yeah, that was one of the last plays that I took off my card. Was I had East Carolina +14. I just don't trust NC State that much. It's a rivalry game. I mentioned that East Carolina had won 4 of the last 7 meetings between these two teams. So East Carolina has had a ton of success against NC State, but that line had been coming down all summer. And then in the week before the game, lurched back up to 14. So that gave me some pause. NC State got up 17-0. And I was like, wow, I'm glad I get off that game, right? And then they just became NC State. This has been a thing for them too. Anybody waiting for that Dave Doran awakening at NC State, that NC State to make that leap and make it to the AC, it's not going to happen. Like, the guy just is who he is. That program just is what it is. And last night was a perfect example of it. You're right. They had all the motivation. They were at home. They were up 17-0. That's when a good team drops the hammer and wins that game like 38-6 or something like that. But NC State's not a good team, so they didn't cover. And I was very happy, obviously, about that South Florida. That was my 5-unit play from last week. Hello to you, Sanu, Abe. Welcome to the party. That was my 5-unit play, so I was very excited and happy that South Florida. And you mentioned it. Boise State struggling early on. You remember last year they went to Georgia Southern, and they ended up winning and covering that game, but they were down late. I think they were down going into the fourth quarter. And like I mentioned on Doc's Football Release Show yesterday, there's 2 places early in the season where I feel like teams really have a massive home field advantage. Teams from like moderate climates that have to go down to Florida. You just mentioned it. The heat, the humidity, like that's a real thing. Like that wears teams down. And teams that have to go to elevation early in the season when they're not used to it. So any teams going to Colorado, I'm going to be very interested to see how Georgia Tech handles that situation tonight going to Colorado. Dion is going to have that place packed. They're going to be ready to play. Raphael, are you a little surprised that number keeps going kind of Georgia Tech's way?
And there was more. Actually, Colorado money's coming in all late this afternoon because it was pretty much a solid 4. Now 3.5s are pretty much dominating the board right now. So
that's down because I saw 4.5s yesterday. So that
there was a couple 4.5s yesterday.
Right.
So I understand Colorado money coming in. They're at home. People don't really understand Georgia Tech. But I think Georgia Tech is a very sneaky team that could come out of the ACC. So I'm just not sold yet on Colorado's defense. It was poor last year, their defense. Their defense was awful. So did they fix it overnight? I don't think they had. I think that's why a lot of people love Georgia Tech. I like both team totals over. I like Georgia Tech's team total over and Colorado's team total over. That tells me that I think I like the over in the game as well. So, but I'm very interested to see this game because I want to see how Colorado's offense looks with pretty much no Sanders back there at QB, and I want to see if that defense got any kind of improvement.
I actually have a ticket on the other side. I'm on the under in this game because everything I'm reading, seeing, and just kind of logically to me, I feel like Colorado is going to be more of a ground and pound type of team. I just think that they're going to run the ball more this year than they have each of the last 2 years, where they basically put the ball in Shadora's hands and let him do his thing. They had a lot of talented receivers, not just Travis. I keep wanting to call him Travis Hunter. This is like the 3rd time this week that I went to say Travis Henry, but not only Travis Hunter, but Jimmy Horn Jr. I think he made a practice squad. And they had a 3rd receiver. They had 3 receivers that were in NFL camps this year. So I'm looking for that offense to maybe take a little step back, help take some of the pressure off that defense maybe. And Georgia Tech, they're more of a running team, rugged team. They want to punch in the mouth a little bit as well. So I'm thinking under in this game, but hey, it's week 1. You never.
Yeah, know. I like Georgia Tech. I think they score, and I think Colorado's going to have to play behind a lot. Sure. So that's why I kind of like the over.
Okay, the other game tonight that really should be getting more buzz than it has been is Auburn and Baylor. I'm seeing that number start to move. I'm seeing Baylor 1.5 now. I've always been surprised that Auburn has been a road favorite in this game. Like, this isn't a neutral site game. Like, they're going on campus in Waco to play a very good, very experienced, very well-coached Baylor team. That number is held firm at 2.5 pretty much all summer and is just now moving. Can you explain what's going on there?
Small money came in all summer long because it's an SEC team versus Baylor. That's all the books were telling me. They had to lay that number up there because of the almighty SEC. It doesn't matter who was playing Baylor. If there was in the SEC, money was going to come in on SEC. Now we're trying to see not that big of sharp money, but some significant big bets coming in on a team I think that has a better defense. The team that's probably going to be able to run the ball against Auburn. I think that's why we're seeing the line movement with Baylor.
More experienced quarterback too. I mean, Jackson Arnold. it can't get any worse for Auburn this year compared to the quarterback play that they had last season. Like, that was a debacle. But Jackson Arnold is not exactly a sure thing. He was below average, somewhere between below average and outright bad at Oklahoma. If he had played better, he'd still be there. So the expectation that him with a new team and a new system on the road here versus Sawyer Robertson, who's Baylor's quarterback, who's very, very good, very experienced also. So I think that there is value here with the Bears. I also said on Doc's Daily, Raphael, tell me if you agree with me on this. I think one of the home teams tonight, one of the home underdogs in those two games wins. I don't think Georgia Tech and Auburn both win. So if you're getting plus money on the money line still with both of those teams, might be worth 2 money line bets, right? Like, you bet them both at plus money on Baylor and Colorado. You only need one of them to win. It is realistic that both of them could win. Do you think that there's some value there on betting it that way?
Oh, easily. And I would even take another game at Appalachian State and in Charlotte, which Appalachian State opened up at 8.5. Some shops had 9, and now it's 3. So a lot of money's been coming in on the 49ers. So you could probably add a third home dog. But I do believe one of those two that you mentioned win the game. And I'll tell you, I think Baylor wins.
Yeah, Tim Alban was the coach at Ohio, led them to their first MAC championship last year in like 60 years. He went to Charlotte to take over for Biff Poggi, who would wear his cutoff, his T-shirts with the sleeves cut off, coaching on the sideline. That pud. He's out, Alban's in. So obviously people are high on Auburn tonight. One last game I want to talk to before we get into like some of Saturday and Sunday's action. Michigan State, Western Michigan. You have thoughts?
Western Michigan money line. Give me the Broncos. No, I'm just I just wanted Lenny's head to explode right now. The numbers no more value. I was looking at Michigan State, but I ain't laying 21.5 out of that. Some dumbass me missed the 17.5. I would even taken the 18 when it quickly moved to 18 when this number opened up. But this is something I might take a look at live betting when I'm watching the games, and maybe Western Michigan kicks a field goal early and they're up 3-0. Then I can see what the line is, but no value for me right now.
One of the last plays I added to my card was Michigan State. Might have been, I'm with you. I don't love the number, but for me, it's just I think Michigan State is going to be a little better than people expect. Now, again, when I say that, looking at this season, they were in the bottom tier last year. They were probably one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the Big Ten last year. I think they're going to be able to play their way kind of into the bottom of that middle tier. I think there's a possibility that 6 wins, 7 wins is not out of the question looking at their schedule and getting back to a bowl game. So for me, it's almost just like I did my research over the summer. I decided I like Michigan State, so I'm just going to try and get out in front and bet them. So I wasn't betting the number. I was just betting my feeling on the team. Should I not have done that? Should I just be following the numbers right now? Or do you think, hey, there's got to be teams in the NFL or in college football that you're looking at, you're like, you know what? I think this team's going to be better than people think, or I think this team's going to be worse than people think, and just bet those hunches? Or are you just straight away numbers?
You know me. I'm numbers. I have a lot of gut feeling, and I'd rather have a gut feeling and not bet it and kick myself. Oh, I can't believe I didn't bet it, than bet it and they get smoked. And sure. I'm mad at my gut, and my gut's mad at my wallet. So
right. See, this is why we're a perfect match, though, because you know me, I'm the exact opposite.
That's when you were saying that, I'm like, we're like twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
right. In terms of our betting style and handicapping approach, yes, we absolutely are. So, okay, we are like contractually obligated to talk about the Ohio State-Texas game. That's down to a pick 'em now, right? And weren't you in communication with some sports books saying that number may continue to move?
DraftKings has Texas 1.5 right now, so they're telling
minus.
They have Texas to favorite at minus 1.5.
Wow.
So they're telling me that they didn't tell me who, and I asked if there was a couple names that I thought it was, and they said no, it wasn't the names that I mentioned. But I'm also hearing that maybe Matrix Max money might be coming in as well. So if that is the case, then I think we can see that number come down. Let's face it, he bets, they move the number, and then Joe Public bets the opposite. Because let's face it, Matrix Max has not had the best record when it comes to winning his play. So it's going to be Here's another one that one of my rants on one of the shows I do. We have a rant Wednesday, and my biggest rant was big noon kickoff games. Why is this game noon? This game should be 2:30 on CBS or ABC at 5 or ESPN at whatever. Because for me, for a numbers guy that we just talked about, I'm always about the numbers. I would love to see what the betting number would be on prime time. You figure everyone lost maybe in the morning or had a bad Friday night or whatever, and now they're jonesing to see if they can play catch up or chasing their action. I would love to see what this number would have been at prime time.
Well, we are going to talk about this. It's going to seem like a tangent, but I actually think that this is something important to remember throughout this season. Okay, so many people, you mentioned it about the Micah Parsons thing, that's all the media has been talking about. So that media reaction drives betting, and that's driving people to bet on that, and that's moving the numbers. With the Fox and the big noon kickoff, this is their way, obviously, of trying to differentiate themselves from ESPN and their primetime evening game. When Fox invested in that big Big Ten package, instantly they went to the noon kickoff. And I think the idea behind it is they want to get people there for that first game, that noon game, and then keep them there. Thinking if people are just going to stay with that station for whoever their 3:30 or 4 o'clock game is, and they can keep them away from ESPN. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because this is going to be a thing all season long. ESPN is tied financially to the SEC. Fox Sports is tied financially to the Big Ten. All of those media apparatuses are going to be pushing their teams and their narrative that the Big Ten is better than the SEC, that the SEC is better than the Big Ten. Why? Because they want spots in those playoff games, because whoever gets the rights to those games, that's big money. So understand that if you're watching Fox Sports and they're talking up these Big Ten teams, understand that there may be a financial motivation behind it. Same thing with ESPN. So be very careful where you're getting your information and whose opinions you are listening to throughout this fall, because again, ESPN is going to be talking whatever they're talking about an SEC team. That's going to drive people to bet that team on or against them, and that's going to have an impact on the numbers. I mean, is that conspiracy theory on my part, Raphael? You think I'm crazy, or do you think that that's valid?
It's a little bit both, but okay. After the Texas-Ohio State game on Fox, you know what the game afterwards is on Fox?
Well,
South Dakota and Iowa State.
Boom.
So do you think people are going to stay on Fox to watch that game when you can watch, there's a million other games. Alabama, Florida State is on the same time. Do you think people are like, oh, I'm on Fox, I'm just going to stay here and watch the Cyclones?
Listen, I am not saying that's what I would do. I am with you 100%. All last year, I was like, this is weird that this big game is on at noon, right? And I couldn't figure it out why Fox was doing that. But, this is a multi-billion-dollar media corporation. Like, they have reasons for it. And the best one that I could come up with is they want to differentiate from ESPNs. They don't want to compete with ESPN in the evening windows. They want to differentiate their product that way. And that the only logical conclusion I could come to is they think if they can get somebody on Fox Sports early, that they can keep them there later. So that was the best I could come up with. If there was a Fox executive, a Fox Sports executive watching Doc's YouTube channel, which, by the way, like and subscribe. If you subscribe, turn on the alerts, and you will also be alerted every time that there's a new show. I know that Raphael has another show with Detroit Lenny coming up later this evening, right? What time is that, Raphael?
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
6 p.m., betting outside the box. And then tomorrow at 11 Eastern Time will be Doc's Daily. We're still doing Doc's Daily on Saturday, so get that last-minute information before you get your bets in. And again, if you subscribe to the Doc Sports YouTube channel, you will get hit with that. So listen, you brought up that South Dakota-Iowa State game, so we're going to stay there for a second. I actually took South Dakota plus 15.5, okay? Iowa State is in a letdown spot after last week's big game in Dublin. A lot of travel. They brought out a trophy on the field there. That was a hard-fought game that came down to the final seconds. They brought a trophy out on the field. Everybody was celebrating. They had to fly back from Ireland. A lot of travel. Quick turnaround to South Dakota, a team that they are definitely not taking seriously. And then next
week,
Iowa. That's right. Next week they play Iowa. So this is a
big new kickoff next week in Iowa State.
It is a quintessential letdown look-ahead spot or sandwich spot, whatever you want to call it. This South Dakota team, each of the last 2 seasons, they have finished number 4 in the country in the FCS rankings, okay? They are a good FCS program. Do I think that they're going to beat Iowa State? I do not. Do I think Iowa State's going to come out flat and a little bit hungover from last week's game and looking a little past this team to a much bigger game last week? I absolutely do. Also, if you look back at what Matt Campbell, who has been amazing in Iowa State, when they play FCS schools, the average margin of victory is 14 points, 28-14. That is his average margin of victory against FCS schools. He does like the absolute bare minimum in these games to beat teams. So hearing all of that, you still think I'm crazy for liking South Dakota?
No, I took first half. So.
Bang. See, there you go, folks. All right.
I didn't want to roll the dice with the full game because you think maybe the second half they get yelled at because you played like crap in the first half and they might come out and punch South Dakota in the face in the second half. So I just rolled the dice with a sloppy first half. That's
the thing. They're a running team. They don't throw the ball much or very well, right? Being a running team like that, it's one of those things where I feel like if South Dakota can hold up for the first half and prove that they can stop the run, they're going to hang around. And I've also found with a lot of these FCS games, even last night we saw it with the MAC game with Ohio and Rutgers. If you let teams hang around when they're huge underdogs like this, very rarely do teams like hit the Jets in the fourth quarter. What's more likely to happen is that underdog, like they can smell it, right? And they hang around a little longer than they would. Okay, another game that you mentioned that not a lot of people are talking about that. Like, I feel like in any other year or any other time, this would be like the game 1A, is that Alabama-Florida State game. Do you see this number moving at all? Do you see Florida State money coming in late? Is it just going to continue to be a crush of Alabama money? Because again, this is a true road game. They're playing in Tallahassee, laying 14 points to what is not like some chump program. It's Florida State.
I think we'll see 14 all the way to kickoff. So if you like Florida State and you're waiting to get that 14.5, I don't think it's going to get there. I understand Bama money coming in. I think people realize, hey, all right, second year head coach. The shadow of Bill Belichick is maybe out, or not Bill Belichick, just drew a blank.
Saban.
Yeah, Saban. I think that shadow is a little bit faded away now. Now it's kind of your team. You got your players in there. Wow, 14 is a big number. But at the same time, what has Florida State shown us the last couple of years? Nothing. I mean, them in Miami, they're always, is this their year? Is the Seminoles back? Are the Hurricanes back? Look at all the stuff they got in the transfer portal. Well, maybe they should have got out of the transfer portal because their guys can't gel quick enough for the football season. So this is one of the games I'm dying to watch this game because I want to see how Alabama, I think me and you talked about this. I have Alabama as a really good sneaky team out of the SEC. Everyone's talking about Texas and Georgia and all that, and even South Carolina. But I think this Alabama team can surprise a lot of people. So I'm really, really curious to watch this to see how they are, not to bet this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I want to see this game from the other side because I want to see what Florida State is or isn't. 2 years ago,
Garbage.
2 years ago, they were undefeated in the regular season. They got screwed out of the playoff bids. They may have been the best team in college football that year, 2 years ago. Last year, they came in with those expectations, and they threw up all over themselves. They were terrible. Okay, what are they going to be this year? I don't think they're going to be as good as they were 2 years ago. I definitely don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year when they went 2-10. So what are they going to be? If they're competitive in this game, I think that bodes well for them in the ACC. If they get bushwhacked in this game, like 42-13 or something like that, then it could be a long year because I don't think Jay Norvell will survive, their coach. I don't think he will survive another losing season or non-bowl season, or even if they go 6-6 this year. I don't know if he survives that. So I'm very interested from Florida State side.
I'm interested in, okay, let's say if Bama rolls, no pun intended, roll tide. Then this LSU Clemson game is so big because LSU has to go to Tallahassee, and if they lose against Clemson and then lose against Bama, they're completely out on the college football playoffs. So now you're scratching out a team that everyone thinks is going to make the playoffs that's probably not going to make the playoffs that could open a door for either another SEC team or another Big Ten or another surprise team. So this week 1 has a lot of implications when you're looking down the road at playoff implications.
Do you see anything happening with that number in the Clemson LSU game? Like, I feel like I may be wrong on this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't it open with Clemson -3, get bet up to
Yes.
Clemson -4, and now it's kind of coming back down to 3.5.
The story was opened up at 3.5, got bet all the way up to 4.5 in some shops. Then LSU money has came in the last 2 days. Then they announced the suspension yesterday. And I don't know if maybe that's why Clemson money's come back, because there were some 3.5s out there yesterday. And now we're seeing complete 4s across the board. And I'm sorry, the almighty Circa has 4.5 as Clemson right now. So I think it's going to stay, but I don't think we see 5. And I think Clemson money is going to continue to come in.
And for those that don't know what you're talking about, who was suspended for LSU yesterday?
I can't think of it. This was a safety that got in trouble for a fight.
Yeah, I mean, for me, AJ Halsey suspended for the first half.
I mean,
I was significant anyway.
It's significant because the last couple of years, LSU's defense has been their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But when it comes to college football, like even honestly, frankly, even if it's a starting quarterback, I ignore injuries. You never know who the backup is. Remember that year Ohio State won it with Cardale Jones was like their third string quarterback. Like JT Barrett got hurt, then the backup got hurt, then they bring in their third string. Like a lot of these programs, guys get hurt or suspended or whatever. Like I don't even factor that into
running backs too. Running backs are a dime a dozen when it comes to college football.
Sure.
So if a running back gets hurt, they can have a freshman that doesn't even know how to tie a cleat yet, and in there he put rushes for 150.
All right. What about the Syracuse-Tennessee game tomorrow?
Really?
What? Tennessee,
We're
man.
only talking about Syracuse because you're an alumni. You're
Give the Q some love there, bud. Well, what is interesting to me about this game is that number has been like around 14 and a half since it opened. It's continued to drop. Like it was at 13 and a half yesterday afternoon. And it's just a little curious to me because majority action coming in on the Vols. And I'm just kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, who the hell is betting Syracuse? Another team just with a tremendous amount of turnover. They lost Kyle McCord, who's on an NFL roster. LaQuint Allen, their running back, NFL roster. Oronde Gadsden, the tight end, NFL roster. They lost their 3 top receivers. So what are people seeing that I'm not? And do you think that like Syracuse money is going to continue to come in? Could this number go lower?
I don't think it goes lower. I think they see neutral site big number. I mean, let's see. Tennessee has question marks at the offensive line. They did lose some guys on defensive side as well. So I understand the line movement because, again, this isn't Atlanta, Georgia. And you're there. A lot of people said creamsicles walking all over the place.
Oh, my God.
Orange.
It's going to be 90-10, 80-20 Tennessee to Syracuse. This is not going to be a neutral crowd.
This is one of those games, live bet it or see second half and all that, because you can see the tempo at the Syracuse. Are they really lost about the movement of players that they have, like you just mentioned? Is Tennessee's maybe defense a little bit better than we were projected? Will they be able to run the ball? So this is one of those ones that I circled. I have hold on. I got like 10 games that I'm actually waiting to live bet that I didn't release because of the number. I mean, I always tell people just because I didn't release, I have 3 plays that I released, but I have 11 games that I have circled that I'm either going to live bet, halftime bet, or stuff like that. So
give us the goods, Raphael. Give us the goods. What do you got? Give us a couple of those.
The Tennessee, this one right here, because I want to see what that is. Utah, UCLA is one. That was the big one. Oh, and IU at Old Dominion. What are you
looking on there? Who do you want to bet? Utah or UCLA?
Utah. I'm hoping UCLA kicks a field goal early, 3-0, and so I can jump on Utah. I think their defense. Indiana, Old Dominion. I'm actually looking at the total over 54.5. But if I can get a 0-0, maybe 7-8 minutes, and they adjust it to maybe in the mid 40s. Last year, Indiana scored a lot of their points in the second half with adjustments at halftime. So this is the kind of stuff I look at. I always people always complain, oh, why am I going to buy your service? You only released 3 plays. Well, if you ask me questions on every social media, I would tell you other stuff that I'm looking at.
Or come here and watch the show every Friday at 2 o'clock.
Or come here.
Ask us in the comment section. See that?
Yeah, look at all these notes. This is a full thing of I'm old school. Pencil, paper. I don't use.
I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. Okay, you mentioned 2 games, so we're going to touch on them briefly. That Utah game, I like Utah in that game, but that number keeps coming down on UCLA. You can see that continuing to go down?
I do so. I just think this UCLA team is garbage.
I do too. I think they're bad. Yep.
I'm hoping I'm wrong because I like UCLA. I think that they need to be good in college football because I think they're good for the sport of college football, especially out in West Coast. But man, every time I go deep dive on their team, they get more worse and worse every
Right.
time I read of it. So that's why I kind of like Utah. I'm hoping UCLA gets the ball first, kicks a field goal, and okay, what's the adjusted number now?
Yeah, I mean, Deshaun Foster, the former Carolina running back, he is the head coach at UCLA. They were a little perkier than I thought last year. Last year, I thought they were going to be like a 2-10 dumpster fire type of team. New coach who hadn't been a coach before, completely new roster, but they overachieved against my own extraordinarily low expectations. I'm with you, though. I still don't think that they're very good. Like the fact that they got Nico Yamalava, I'm sure I butchered that, but the Tennessee quarterback, like, what? I think he was a product of being in that Tennessee offense. He didn't light the world on fire. People were talking about him as like a sleeper Heisman pick last year. He wasn't very good last year. So like that one guy, and the guy that they're not talking about, everybody's talking about Nico in this game, Devin Dampier, the kid that's Utah's quarterback. He was at New Mexico last year. I think he threw for over 2,500 yards and rushed for over 1,200 yards. He had like 35 combined touchdowns, something like that. Like electric two-way player. And he did, just like Johnny Matier going to Oklahoma, Devin Dampier came to Utah and brought his offensive coordinator and his top receiver with him. So it's not like learning a new system for the quarterback, which is great, and which is why I think he's going to get off to a fast start, just like Matier transferred from Washington State. They brought the offensive coordinator to Oklahoma. I'm looking for them to get off to a fast start. So I'm with you.
That's a perfect why I'm looking to live bet it. I'm hoping it's either a slow game, no points, or UCLA kicks a field goal because they got the ball first. Because you just nailed it. I love this Utah quarterback. I just think he's going to – if he can shine at New Mexico, which the Lobos are always bad, what's he going to do with a great defense behind him? Because that's new. Utah always has a great D.
Great offensive line, too. They might have the best offensive line in their conference, one of the top 10 or 15 offensive lines in the country. Utah is powerful. So I'm with you. I kind of like this team. I think everything they didn't do last year because of their quarterback injuries – I think this year's Utah team.
They had like 5 quarterback injuries last year. They called me and see if I could still sling it around.
Yeah, they had 4 different guys start the game last year, and people forget they still started 3-0, and they were number 10 in the country at one point. So this is not a bad team. Okay, you mentioned Indiana. I want to talk about Indiana Old Dominion. Nobody wants to talk about this game, but I want to talk about this game. I talked about it at length on Docs Daily, so I'm not going to rehash everything. But here's my thing with Indiana. Everybody remembers Indiana from last year, right? They were an ATM machine. They were just printing money, covering every week, blowing people out. You know as well as I do that eventually the books are going to get out in front of them. That pendulum's going to swing back the other way. Their numbers are going to be inflated and overhyped, just so they can stem the tide of money they're losing on Indiana. Do you think that we might already be at that point? Like, is Indiana a team that sportsbook managers and odds makers were talking about this summer? Like, hey, we got to pump up their numbers a little bit because we got crushed on this team last year.
And maybe a half a point, but then they also look at the roster coming in. Their defense is not going to be as good as it was last year. I think their offense be stagnant a little bit, not as high power as it was, but I like the reason why I serve this game for live betting and the over, because I think Old Dominion will be able to move the ball against Indiana. So if I can get 20 plus points on them against Indiana's defense, then I'm sitting pretty, because we all know Indiana's going to score. They like to score quick, they like to score fast, and they like to keep the pedal to the metal. So I'm just looking for this on a total wise, not Indiana, because this is not going to be the same Indiana team we saw last year. Odds makers adjusted. Teams are going to adjust when they see IU on their schedule.
I mean, I took Old Dominion. I took them with the points because, as I said earlier, I'd rather be the first guy off the bandwagon than the last guy off the bandwagon, right? Now, Indiana did bring back, I think, 14 starters from last year's team. So they do have they did bring in a lot of transfers, but they do have a really good core of players still left. And the kid at quarterback, he's not as good as Curtis Rourke, who was a 4-year starter at Ohio, who was awesome in the MAC before he came over to Indiana. But Fernando Mendoza, the kid that they got from Cal, he's really good. He can play. Again, two-way player, runs the ball a lot. I think he's going to be good in that lineup. But for me, I looked back at Old Dominion, and I was really shocked by this. They've been kind of feisty against Power 4 teams that they played. Last year, they opened the season at South Carolina. Very good South Carolina team, beat Alabama, all that stuff. They only lost 23-19. They only lost by 4 points last year to South Carolina. They lost by 20 points to Virginia Tech. The year before that, they only lost by 3 to Wake Forest. They only lost by 19 to Virginia Tech. And in 2022, they actually beat Virginia Tech in their opener. So Old Dominion's 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games against Power 4 conferences. Take a team that's kind of overperformed as an underdog like this. Take a team like Indiana that I think might be at some point this year will become overvalued. Put them together and we have a bet. Do you think I'm crazy for that line of thinking? Like, should I just stay away from Indiana, or does my rationale make sense?
The rationale sense, but I like you mentioned that loss to Virginia Tech. After they lost to Virginia Tech, they averaged almost 30 points a game after that loss to end their regular season. So their offense got better after playing against that Metallica defense we call it as the Hokies. So it's going to be very interesting to see how improved. I think their offense is going to be much improved this year, Old Dominion. So I kind of like to play. I think I made Indiana like 22, like around that number. So 23.5, 24. It's a little bit high.
Okay, Sunday's game, again, another kind of big game that could have ramifications for later in the season. Virginia Tech, South Carolina, ACC, SEC. SEC has dominated the ACC in recent years. We know that. Neutral site game. This game is not being played in Columbia. This one is being played in Atlanta. So they got to turn everything over real quick from that Syracuse-Tennessee game on Saturday to Virginia Tech and South Carolina. Now, Virginia Tech came into last year, if you remember, everyone was hyping them up as like dark horse ACC contender, right? I feel like that's right. And then they were a complete and total dud last season. Still have a little bit of talent, I think, though. I also think that South Carolina is maybe the most overrated team in the country. Like they're ranked number 13th. They are not the 13th best team in college football. Like that's kind of a joke, right? Like, so which way?
It's all because of Lenoris. It's all because of him.
Who's awesome?
Yeah. I didn't want to say he's overrated.
Yeah, no, he's
but I'm
awesome.
just saying he can't play defense. He can't play offensive. He can't hike the ball to himself. So, but I just think they put so much. I feel bad for this kid because they're putting so much pressure on Lenoris. I feel bad for him. He's really, really good, but can the team follow him? Is the big question mark.
They're going to be out of the top. They might be out of the top 25 by the end of the month. I guarantee that they're not in the top 25 by mid-October. Looking at I guarantee that. Like, they are not the 13th best team. Now, this number has been creeping down. It opened around 10, 9.5, something like that. It's been creeping down to currently it's at 8. Do you see that continuing to go down, or do you think we're going to get a flood of SEC money on this game? How do you think that Saturday's action, either from the ACC or the SEC, do you see that maybe influencing the betting on this game? Like, if the SEC has a monster day on Saturday, do you think people will bet South Carolina just on spec?
Dear gambling gods, can I get a Baylor win and a Clemson win? Can I get a Baylor win? Because if that happens, everyone's going to be jumping all over SEC, South Carolina in this game. There's no way they're going to go 3 straight.
Texas loses too. If Texas loses too,
okay, you're right. I forgot about that. Some days I just forget that Texas and the SEC. I'm not going to lie. So I apologize for that one. If that does happen, and now you have a Sunday game where there's only one 2:00 game and one game afterwards, and you don't think the narrative on TV or the narrative around the betting world that SEC's down 0-3 against ACC coming into this matchup? I think the reason why South Carolina money came in like 9.5, could quickly bet down. I think we actually forgot that this was a neutral site game. If this was in South Carolina, then I totally understand the 9, the 8, and all that. But last time I checked, Atlanta, Georgia is not South Carolina. So I think that's kind of misleading on that one. But I think there's way too many points. I like Virginia Tech. I think South Carolina wins like 4 points or less. But I like the Hokies on this one.
Okay, the game after that is that Miami Notre Dame game. Now I'm not super high on Miami this year, just in general. Like let's put it this way: people are talking about them as top 10, a national championship contender. I don't think that they're at that level. They'll still win 8-9 games like around that, but I also don't think that Miami should be a home underdog in this game. Do you see anything happening to this number? Do you see it moving? Like, if anything, it went up. I saw some 3s
Yep.
yesterday. It got to solid 3,
Yep.
which I absolutely 100% didn't see that happening. Do you think more Notre Dame money is going to come back in? Do you think there's going to be a huge buyback on the 3? Like, what do you see happening here?
Yeah, most of the threes popped up yesterday, like around 2:30, 3 o'clock. It all depends. If Notre Dame can run the ball, that means the tight ends are going to be wide open in the second half. Then I think we could see a bloodbath. But if Notre Dame has struggled running the ball against Miami's defense, then you're 100%. Then maybe we shouldn't have a home underdog because maybe that home dog barks late on Sunday. So it all depends. I didn't touch this game because of this situation. Here's another game that maybe I will live bet this because, again, if Notre Dame could run the ball, tight end central, it seems like Notre Dame pumps out tight ends every year like there's no tomorrow.
Sure.
And those tight ends are going to be wide open in the second half if they can run the ball.
Yeah, for me, it was just a numbers play. Like I said, like kind of the opposite of what I said earlier when I was like, I bet Michigan State just because I like them this year in general, and I'm just trying to get down on them. I feel the opposite about Miami. I don't like them long term, but just looking at this number, I'm like, there's value here, man. Like they could win this game. Like Notre Dame is starting a freshman quarterback, first year starter on the road. Just like we talked about with Boise State, it's hot and it's humid in August and September. Like that could take a toll on this Notre Dame team. Like Miami is going to be amped up for this game. I think that they're aware that they are underdogs in this game, and they're going to have that underdog mentality. And I think that's better for Miami. Miami's problems are when they become too big of a favorite and they're just not that good, and that's when we see them lose games. So for me, all the value is on Miami. I don't know
how ironic that the next game we'll probably talk. One book just took it off 3.5 and moved it to 4. TCU just went to 4 in one book. So how ironic that is. That's just
go on. Do you agree with that line movement? Disagree with that line? I gotta tell you, 3 weeks ago, TCU was going to be my 7-year play. That was going to be my biggest play of week 1. I still like TCU, but obviously not as much. I found other plays that I liked more. I'm not.
I like TCU when it was plus 1.5.
Sure. Yeah. Right. I don't know why I'm getting nervous about North Carolina, but what are your expectations here?
My expectations were really high until I got a request to do Belichick prop bets for this stupid game. So now my expectations, like I just want to give the middle finger at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to this game. But I can see North Carolina. Belichick screwed me in the NFL so many years betting against Tom Brady and the Patriots, and all them two would lift a trophy and give me the middle bird year after year. I can see me betting TCU, and what does Belichick do with his 19-year-old girlfriend that I bought Girl Scout cookies last year to give me the middle finger again? So I want to say I'm taking North Carolina. Now, if I get +4, then then I'm jumping on the Tar Heels. I'm putting my Jordan jersey on, North Carolina jersey, and I'm rooting for them. But right now, for me, it's either North Carolina or nothing.
You know, I was trying to think of this. Maybe somebody can mention it in the comments, or maybe you'll know. Maybe Lenny can drop something in the comments. Maybe he knows. I was trying to think because there's a long history of coaches that tried to go from college to the NFL, and some had success. Pete Carroll, a lot of them failed. I can't think of any NFL head coaches that went down to college and had success. Like I can't think of any, really. You know,
there's going to be one next year.
Who? I mean, Jim Harbaugh.
If John Gruden goes to an SEC team, and the top 3 teams I'm hearing that he's already circled that he would want to go to, I can see immediate success.
Okay, Harbaugh, like Jim Harbaugh did. He was the only. But even that took some time, right? Like it took some time for him to build up Michigan. But he's the only guy I can think of that came from the NFL.
Yeah, me too. I can't think of anybody else either.
So like this idea that Bill Belichick's the greatest NFL coach of all time, period. End of sentence. Like that's my honest belief, right? You can't argue with the results. However, that's different. Like coaching in college is about the players. Like you can be a bad X's and O's coach, but if you have the better players, you're going to win more than you're going to lose. And he doesn't have that. In the NFL, everyone has talent. The discrepancy between talent is razor thin. So that's where coaching matters more, I feel like. That's not to say coaching doesn't matter in college. It does. But having better players matters more. And that's why I don't think North Carolina is going to be as good as everybody thinks they are, because he's only going to be able to do so much with the scheme. The reality is they have a team of 70 new players. This was not like a highly coveted transfer class, right? Like he's getting second and third tier players. And will he coach them to be a little better than they would be otherwise? Yeah, sure. But they're still not very good.
I'm not sold on TCU this year. That's a lot of the reason why TCU is not my sneaky team coming out. Beware for the Horned Frogs. No. So that's another reason why I was kind of looking at the home underdog.
That's what backed me off this as a big play. It was more the TCU stuff that I was digging into. Yep. I like Sonny Dykes. I like Josh Hoover, their quarterback. They're going to score points, but I don't trust them to stop people. And they just they haven't shown since they went to the national championship game a couple years ago. In the 2 years since, they just haven't been a very consistent team. Like they haven't beaten.
Their defense have been awful.
It's been awful, right? And they have lost to teams that they should easily be beating. I think that they are unquestionably better and more well prepared for this game in North Carolina. But yeah, I'm with you. That's why I backed down my play on it. Was more, I don't trust TCU, but like I'm not buying into the Belichick quick turnaround. They're going to win 9 or 10 games this year. Like that is not going to happen at North Carolina. So, all right, that's it. We're good. We went a little long, but you know what? We got a lot of football. Just wait till next week when we are breaking down college and NFL games. Take advantage of that free 60 link down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Raphael, you have a 7-unit play going this weekend, correct?
Tomorrow night, take a nap.
Tomorrow night, take a nap during the afternoon, wake up and bet big with his 7-unit play.
Take a nap when Iowa State.
Do not take a nap because my 7-unit play goes off at noon. I am on one of the early games, so it's either going to be a really, really good day or a really, really bad day at the Ferringo house, and we're going to know by about 3:30 how it's going. So, all right, good luck to everyone. We will see you next week. Carpe diem and good luck.